views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Oh my gosh. Welcome everybody. I'm Dr. Pat Show, Transformation Talk Radio, transformationradio.fm. I don't even know the other channels we're on. I want to thank all of our affiliates for playing us. And, the Zeno Radio Network, I'm telling you, dude, you sent me a gift basket. We love you. We love being your beta. Boom. That's what I'm talking about. Had a great call this morning with someone that I hadn't heard from in years because why? Glenna Rice, Gary Douglas helped me with a question, many questions. I think I'm a one-question girl, but I don't know. Maybe today I'm going to get some help because today's show, please, everybody, write this thing down. If money wasn't the issue, what would you choose? Boom. That's it. Mr. Benny, I hope you're going to play with us today. Benny.
Always.
If money wasn't the issue, what would you choose?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Oh, boy. We're going to get some help, though, today.
Okay, I could use that.
We're going to get some help. Why? Because we got a questionable conversation getting ready to happen. Now, for those of you living in Seattle or Pacific Northwest, let's say, we have got Glenna Rice, Dr. Glenna Rice, because I got to experience how that happened. Gary Douglas, Seattle, this coming weekend. Get ready. There's something that happens. When we start to live in the question. And I'm not going to say what that is because Glenna's here today. What does that something start to look like? Now, if you're Dr. Glenna Rice, then one of the things you know is you've learned a number of years ago the importance of living in the question. But why is it that the question works for other people, doesn't work for us, and that we are so afraid to even say the word money, especially around the new year? But if money wasn't the issue, what would you choose? Glenna is one of the most amazing Access Consciousness facilitators. And besides all of that, she's also a mom. She also went back to school. She's done a bunch of things that many of us think, wow, how do you do it? Well, you're going to hear about how she does it today. And we're going to make sure that you know about the upcoming class, but we're also going to make sure you know about some of the other places in the country, out of the country, for you folks that listen in Australia, listen in New Zealand, listen in England. Where are the Access Consciousness people? And what is it about this brand new possibilities platform that you're going to find out about today? Glenna, it's great to have you here. Yay!
Yay. Thank you, Dr. Pat. I'm so excited to be on the show. Yeah, I'm excited I get to come up to Seattle.
I am excited that you're coming. But let's talk about the evolution of that particular event, because things have changed. You guys are making some changes to things. And please tell us what they are, because this upcoming event is all about that.
Right. So Gary Douglas, the founder of Access 25 years ago, one of the things he does really, really well is change. But then we all change well. We just pretend we're not changing, even though that's the one thing that's consistent is that you're always changing. And he's just changed a class that he's done for years that was the Access Level 2 and 3 into a class that's called the Choice of Possibilities. So we're getting rid of the levels, which I think is fabulous, and this class is Well, this is the first one. So for me to say what it's going to be, I haven't been there yet. I just know that it's going to change a lot of things for the people that are showing up, create some different possibilities for them to choose greater, to be greater, to know more, to be to access their awareness in a way that they've never imagined possible. And he just changed it at the end of November, I think, is when they decided. So things happen really fast also. And when, something is ready to change, you choose it, and it happens quickly. And I'm really excited. So we have this 3-day class in Seattle. The first one in the whole world is happening in my favorite city.
Yeah. And, let's talk about how that happened, because many people would say, oh, they probably had a meeting, sat down, put together some kind of plan, try to figure that out. But that wouldn't be the Access Consciousness way, would it?
No, it probably would happen over a bottle of wine at lunch one day with a few people sitting around the table chatting. Actually, Gary and Dr. Dane here had taught the class, and they were aware that there was something about it that wasn't really working. Like it's been a 4-day class, and it was on day 4. It felt like everyone was done, and they were just kind of doing the last day, just because they had it scheduled and they needed to. And they talked about that amongst themselves. And then in a class in Houston in November, Gary went to lunch and came back from lunch and said, "Yeah, we're changing it. This is the new name." And we're changing things. I mean, it's from awareness, not figuring things out, is how Gary functions, his team functions, and people that, that's one of the things Access gives you the tools to start being more. So you're functioning from what is going to create more in the future, what's going to expand the future, create more possibilities for the future. And when things are done, it's asking a question like, if we change this to a 3-day class, what's that going to create? And that the awareness was that it was going to create more. And it already has started to. So it doesn't take a long time to have meetings and everything else when you're functioning from yes, no, is this going to create more for the future? And Gary's target is to create consciousness everywhere as much as possible.
Yeah.
On the planet.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I want to ask you this question because this is the topic for today. It's, if money wasn't the issue, what would you choose? I love this question. And there is, for me, there's a question about how does that question help us get to the place we want to get to? And how can asking this question change everything? I mean, just me saying it, I got an energy. And boy, Benny was like speechless right there. Did you pick up on that, Glenna?
Yeah. It's such a great question. I mean, I've used it, and I still use it all the time. It's a great question when you're in that place where you'd really like to do something or buy something or invest in something. Go on a vacation, all these things that we'd like to choose, and we go, well, I don't have the money. I can't do that because I don't have the money. I can't do that because I don't have enough money. Well, I don't have enough money to do that. And that's not a question. That's a total conclusion. And money is really interesting. Money has this amazing energy that it wants to contribute to the things that you want to create in your life. When you're creating more, money shows up. Money always shows up to contribute to that. But we often stop everything we're going to create with the point of view that money's not there yet. We have to have the money first. So this question allows you to see a totally different possibility around money. When you want to choose something that you say, I don't have the money for, you go, well, if money wasn't the issue, would I choose this? Yes or no? What's lighter? What expands more? If money wasn't an issue, sometimes you get a no. I mean, I was, looking at some dress in a store, and like, if money wasn't the issue, would I buy this? I got a no. It's like, oh, I don't even really want this dress. Right? And other times it's been going on trips with my kids to workshops or even creating classes where the venues seem too expensive and the flight is too expensive. And I'm starting to go into this headspace around money. And it's like, well, if money wasn't the issue, would I choose the venue? Would I choose that place? And if I get it flight, yes, I always go with it because then the money shows up to contribute to the choice that's going to create more.
I love this.
So this, yeah.
As you were talking about this, it's really, this is, oh my God, I'm just like, I got to get focused here because I'm so excited about this, right? Here's the deal. I was on a call this morning with a friend of mine. You know, she worked with the Dr. Pat Show before it was even the Dr. Pat Show. And she's an amazing conduit about how to bring people together. And I shared with you that we are launching our Take Back Talk Radio crowdfunding campaign. And we also have a second one in support of Lyme disease awareness. And what's fascinating about this is your question, which I looked at and asked myself the question, would I be doing this? Would I be in the world with the Dr. Pat Show, Transformation Talk Radio, transformationradio.fm? And I answered the question, and there wasn't even a blip of doubt or hesitation for me. I didn't do Is It Light? I didn't do that because I don't think there was like any room for it. There wasn't any room for it. And so the key thing for this then is, in your taking us through this today, is boom, if we get that, now this is my words, if we get that hit, right, where do we go from here, Glenna? Where do we go from here, right? So if we get that hit, that if money wasn't the issue, what would I choose? Yeah, that's it. This is it. This is it. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. But here's the thing that came up for me, Glenna. I would choose more for it. I would choose a bigger platform for the radio, for reaching people. So this is like, wow, am I compromising? And what does that look like? Because I didn't do this. I didn't say, oh, I can't afford it, I can do this. So when we come back from break, actually, we're going to skip the break because this is so important. So can you see that little trick that just happened for me here today with this?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I totally see it. That's what I'm talking about. That's how this question works. And it's not that you were compromising. You just have the awareness of where it could have been a little bit of your points of views about money that might have been limiting, because we function in a world where money is, this is how it's part of this reality hugely. And we have points of views and decisions about it, and we have caps on how much money we can have and we can receive and what we can do with our money. So when you ask this question, you start to see what you really would like to choose. So, a bigger platform. So then you have awareness. Okay, I would actually have a bigger platform if money wasn't an issue. And then you can start choosing, well, what would that look like? How could I create that? What would it take to have that? And then what else is possible. You use that question all the time, and you can and the way you function, Dr. Pat, I'm sure that things will start changing. It will probably start to get greater.
Glenna, here's what I love. I shared this, in the previous show. This whole thing for me started back in 2003, early in 2003, when I wrote on the back of the crust busting card. The crust busting idea just came to me. I was doing workshops, right? And I wrote on the back of it that I wanted to reach, I still have the card, by the way, on the back of it. I wanted to reach 1 million people to help them live life full out on the back of the card. And I put it out in the universe, dialed the wrong phone number and didn't hang up. And within 10 minutes, I bought my first hour of airtime. Then KKNW, of course, happened to have an 11 o'clock spot open, heard from them, and again, bought 5 more hours of airtime. And so today, what's fascinating about today's conversation is, what am I going to choose, right? Because you say when you choose to create more money, when you choose to create more money shows up. But yet at the same time, don't we have embedded enough in us this idea of, well, wait a minute, you really should be grateful for what you're choosing to begin with. But no, I want to reach people all over the world to help them. You see, I don't want to just settle for that. But yet somewhere in me, I'm afraid to step out and ask for it. Does this sound weird, or do we all go through something like this? Because I know our listeners, I don't get these questions for nothing. I know somebody out there is on the same page I'm on.
Yeah, you should be grateful for what you have. The thing is about being grateful for what you have, it's true. Yes, be grateful for everything you've created, everything that showed up, the good, the bad, the ugly. Being grateful for what you're creating allows you to create more. So we're truly grateful. And acknowledge that we're the creators of everything in our life and truly grateful for that. And then we ask for more, it shows up. Because we're grateful for what we get, more shows up because you're someone who has gratitude. Money is going to follow that energy. Creations are going to follow that energy. Because gratitude has a way of acknowledging who you are and what you're creating and the contribution of everything around you. And when you acknowledge it, it continues to contribute, and you're willing to receive more with that. So, yeah, definitely. And we have so many weird caps on how, the kind of money, so many things from our families, from our, cultures. There's so many things we've decided and so many judgments and points of views about people with money or what money does. We have money's evil. We have judgments of people with money, the rich people, there must be something wrong with it, or they're greedy. That's a great one that stops us receiving. And if you're functioning from this, you want more for the planet, you want more for, you want to reach 1 million people and give them a gift. That is not something that a greedy person does. Money follows that energy always. If you're willing to choose it, the money will come. The money shows up. I've seen it over and over again. It's just to get rid of what we have in place that limits the amount of money we can actually receive.
Wow. I want to ask you a question because I've gotten to take this journey with you. And, it's been really amazing to watch it. I'm so thrilled about, look, here's a class that's going to happen in Seattle with you, with Gary Douglas, and, having Gary participate in this. And I think this is something you said to me before. I don't know that Gary's been to Seattle. I don't know for sure. But, this is also stepping out into the world of possibilities. The world of, in the new book, Possibilities in Parenting. And so how cool is this to be able to be in the flow of that, to be able to be in the flow of what else is possible. Yet at the same time, this is my question for you. We do it for a lot of things, Glenna, but money is like taboo. It's taboo in our culture. We beat around the bush around the word money, everything from prosperity to abundance. But today we're having a money conversation, aren't we? Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And money is part of prosperity and part of abundance. That's included in all of those things. I've had weird things with money my whole life. I came into, since I was in college 30 years ago or something, I've had debt. And my family functioned from lots of debt, lots of credit card debt. If you didn't have money, you could put it on a card. And that took me years to change because I had to change a huge point of view about abundance and about gifting to me, because I used debt my whole life to limit what I could do for fun. Because anything that I wanted to do that was fun and kind of out of the box and a little bit crazy,
yeah,
I couldn't ever choose because I had debt. And when I was able to see that point of view, that I was self-debting my joy, then my debt started to just go away. I was able to pay off it in about a year. The stuff that I'd had there forever that never seemed to go away, when I got, I'm debting myself, I'm self-debting, I'm stopping my abundance, my joy, my creations, with this excuse I always had that I can't pay for that because I need to pay off my debt. When I started to pay for those things that bring joy to my life, actually when I started to choose those things that cost money that brought joy, more money showed up and my debt went away.
Wow. Today's show is really one of the most amazing ways for those of you listening. And by the way, I have a question for all of you listening to the show. This is the show you want to call into. If money wasn't the issue, what would you choose? And you don't really know where to go with that. If you would like some help, if you would like to know what are some of the questions you might ask to get to the place where, I think, Glenna, you said it earlier, is when you choose to create more, money shows up. What do we need or want, desire to make this be like breathing for us? I want to ask you a question. When it comes to money, people generally associate money, making it, attracting it, with the word hard. Now, yeah. And for the select few. So talk about when you choose to create more, money shows up. How has that happened for you? And what are some of the questions we might entertain in making sure that that is what happens when we're creating? We got the money. If you have a dream, see it fully funded.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's actually to choose the dream, and when you choose it, it will fund itself almost. The money shows up to create that. If money is required to create it, I mean, there's things that you can create and choose to do that don't require money or don't require a lot, but the things that you require to create what you're choosing will show up once you choose it. That's really the thing, is you have to choose it first. You can't put off your choice because you don't have everything in place first. You choose, and then you start creating everything that will come to fruition that will help you create that. We kind of have it backwards in this reality, where we think we have to have everything in place first, and then we create it.
Yeah.
What was your other question? I kind of got
Well, what I want to do is, I've got a lot of questions. What I'd like to do is take a short break if we can, and then come back. And we're going to be keeping going crazy here during this, because this is really super important. This is super, super, super important. This is where we get to look at ways that we compromise. This is ways that we say, I'm not going to be doing that. So what does money mean to you? Okay? What does money mean to you? How is it that we don't even understand what money means to you? How is it that we're thinking to ourselves, oh, wait a minute, that person gets to say they're rich, but I'm never going to be rich. Oh, I hate even saying this, Glenna. You got to help me here. When we come back, you got to help me so that I don't say this. Here's the deal. How attached are we to our past? Like Glenna talked about, my dad, what he did was had a fabulous trucking business and lost it all in a nanosecond. How much of that is like hanging on in there for me? And what do we need to do to move beyond it? Do you guys want some help with money? 1-800-930-2819, or go to transformationtalkradio.com, thedrpatshow.com, and type in your question, and we are fired up today. We'll be right back.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Artie Hoffman is the hottest psychic with the warmest heart and the host of the hit show Angels and Answers. A renowned psychic, medium, spiritual life coach, and an entertaining motivational speaker, Artie has helped over 15,000 people with his amazing intuitive gifts, his passion, and his humor. Call 877-ANGEL-02 to schedule a personal reading or to have your own psychic Artie party. That's 877-ANGEL-02. And visit artiehoffman.com and Angels and Answers on Facebook.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
Song of the Heart, Walking the Path of Light, from author and healer Francine Vale, is available now. Through Francine's life story, we learn how imperative it is to love one another. Once this simple truth is learned, peace on earth will prevail. Song of the Heart is a life lived and a story told for this purpose. To learn more about Francine and her amazing gifts, or to order your copy of the book today, visit angelsandlightbeings.com.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Hosts Dr. Pat Basile and Chip Justice can help you build meaningful success while embracing life. Living a life you love is the end game in this new, inspirational, and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. Tune in every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit PositiveChangeInstitute.co for more information.
Hi, I'm Tim Darter.
And I'm Steve Kramer.
Join us on Spirit Fire Radio. Discover how to add the mechanics of meditation to your day.
And watch yourself connect in a whole new way find the amazing moments in life's routines that often pass us by. Add to your awareness with Spirit Fire Radio.
Tune in each Wednesday at 9 a.m. for your weekly guide to practical mindfulness. And to learn more, visit www.spiritfireradio.com.
Holistic Medical Center is where you find it all. A healthy space with doctors who care, see, and listen to the whole you. Hi, this is Dr. Darvish. If you have not found an answer to your chronic symptoms, you will find answers here at Holistic Medical Center. Our doctors find the root cause of your symptoms and guide your body towards healing naturally. We transform lives from within. Visit drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
Hey, everybody. Glenna Rice is in the house. I love this call. I love this show. You know, this topic today, in all of the years that we've been doing this is the question that, man, I'm fired up about, that we get to ask. If money wasn't the issue, what would you choose? Now, I have not heard from Benny, and I'm not going to put him on the spot, but I know he's thinking about it. You know, I'm really clear for myself. Of course, Benny, I won't put you on the spot. You know that. But for you guys out there, Dr. Glenna Rice is in the house. Before we go to the phones, before we start to get and look at some of these questions, before we start to, you know, like de-embrace the word hard, Glenna, what is the best way for people to find out about the class, to find out about you, and also, how do we hire Glenna to help us?
So the easiest way to find me is glennarice.com, my website, myname.com. That's easy. You can also find all my classes on the accessconsciousness.com website, and Gary Douglas's classes are also up there. The class is coming up in Seattle. If you've done the prerequisite classes, the Bars Foundation Level 1, then that is where you find the class to register. It's pretty simple to get a hold of me.
I love it. All right. Now, I know we're going to talk about hard, but we've got a caller. And
okay.
I love our listeners. You know, man, I'm telling you, they're so cool. Mr. Benny, can we go to the phones, please?
Love to do that. Let's take Ann. She's calling in from Falls Church, Virginia. Ann, hello.
Ann.
Hi. Happy New Year, Dr. Pat and Glenna.
Ann, I love you. Happy New Year. Thank you for calling in.
Well, it's a very, very sensitive topic for me.
Oh, yeah, me too, sister.
Very.
How can we help?
I was a teacher for many years, and I had things happen to me when I was in my 20s, quite tragic things, and you put them in your unconscious, and you go forward, and you spend money, and you refinance, and you refinance, and you refinance. And then came the market crash, and then I couldn't refinance anymore. But the good thing is I think it happened for a reason, because it then led me to listen to a lot of shows because it didn't cost anything. I started a cooking business, but still listening to the shows, which led me to do a spiritual recovery, you could say, which was a good thing because I was going and not paying attention. So I was not being mindful of what I was doing. So I am still paying for it, but I'm getting better at it. But still, it is difficult. Even though I am retired and I have a retirement and I do cook for a living, I still have friends that travel a lot, and I can't at this time, which is okay. But I feel that it did me good to have that market crash kind of crash into my head for me to be where I am today. Does that make any sense, what I just said?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So,
Glenna to the rescue.
Well, do you have a question, or do you just want me to go
my
from
question is, I don't want to have that attitude of not having money, and I try to reword things when I talk to people, and it's sort of like a secret that I keep within me, because I'm embarrassed to say anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
well,
so I don't want to have that stress because I know it takes a toll on your body.
Yeah. So can I do an access clearing just real quickly? It's just going to ask you some questions, and if you want to uncreate and destroy it, we will, and I'll do a statement.
It doesn't hurt. Trust me. I'm ready for mine.
Yeah, so all the ways you've defined yourself with your past points of views about money and all the ways you're trying to keep it a secret from everyone, including yourself, because when you keep a secret, you're keeping it from yourself also. Would you be willing to uncreate and destroy all the energies around that?
Okay.
Okay,
Are you,
right,
are you
wrong,
willing
good and bad.
to do that?
So I'm keeping a secret to myself as well.
Yep.
Yeah, you're keeping money a secret. Okay, and if you keep money for a secret, it can't find you. That's one of the ways you can stop yourself with your points of view about being a secret. A lot of families and people would have had families where you weren't supposed to talk about money, and that whole energy will stop money from showing up because you're keeping it a secret and you're hiding it, but the money is hidden from you with that energy also. It's just one of the weird ways we twist it up.
Yep.
That's interesting.
So and there's that whole where you want to hide it because you're kind of embarrassed, you don't want other people to know. All of that stuff is, and you even felt like it's something you got kind of inside yourself. So if we can uncreate and destroy all the ways you're holding that energy there and just let it dissipate out bigger than the universe, make it infinite. No one has to know what your money situation is, but you don't need to keep it secret either because you don't want to keep it secret from you. Because having clarity about round money totally contributes to how we can receive it. So everything that is, you said yes, you'd be willing to uncreate and destroy it. So I'm just going to do the clearing statement. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine steps forth and beyond. And for those of you who have never heard that before on any of the calls, you can go to theclearingstatement.com, and it's all explained there. It takes too long to explain it here, but it's kind of like a big cosmic vacuum cleaner that sucks out the stuff that's not contributing to you anymore and dissipates it. And you're also somewhere looking for like a reason and justification that these things happen to you. There's a question that's a little bit different because a reason and justification is a real linear thing where you have to make something wrong and then something right from something wrong. And when we're making things right and wrong, we're totally defining them and judging them. But instead to just say, hey, what was so right about all that stuff I'm not getting? You know, what was so right about it? There was nothing wrong. It wasn't a bad thing that happened to you. It's something that just showed up. What was so right about me creating this I'm not getting? Because somewhere the whole creation of it has something to do with you also because it's your house and you're refinancing. And what was so right about that you're not getting? And you're looking for a glimmer of a lightness in that question. It's a little bit different than this happened and then I got to do these cool things and it happened because it creates more space to look at it from that question. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I could say that what the good came out of it is I still have my house and I can make my payments.
Well, that's that. How does it get better than that? Well, that would be what's so right about this I'm not getting. I totally made it through the financial crash. Look at how that happened.
Yes,
and I still
did.
have my house. And how does it get, what else is possible here? And then when you want to go on vacations with your friends, this is exactly the time you would ask the question that the show's about. You know, if money wasn't an issue, would I choose to go on the vacations with my friends? Yes or no? See what's lighter. If you get a no, go, well, maybe I didn't really want to go on those vacations with my friends. If you get a yes, then, okay, what would it take to generate that? What can that business you have with the baking you're doing, how could that grow greater than you can imagine? What's possible with that you've never even considered?
Okay. It's posing the questions to myself, but I'm the one that has to answer them so they no longer become a secret.
Yeah, and you don't want to answer them. You want to have the awareness the question gives you. An answer stops everything.
Yep.
That's where reasons and justifications are kind of answers. Answers stop. You ask a question, and you're looking for an awareness that contributes to more possibility. Like, oh, what could happen with my business I've never considered? And then boom, 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 strange things that you'll notice will show up. You'll talk to someone you've never talked to before that just loves what you're cooking. I can't even say or because you don't know what's going to show up or how it's going to show up. You just know that when you ask the question, what's possible here I've never considered, things start to show up that can contribute to that question.
So you just put that question out to the universe and leave it unanswered and look at the possibilities.
Yeah,
Okay.
put it out to the universe, but it's out to you too. You have to be really included in that whole thing. It's not just the universe; it's you with the whole universe contributing to you.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
we're going to talk about this more, because part of this is practicing, and part of the practicing of this is what makes it so automatic. But the level of awareness, for sure, is what shows up. Well, let's talk about that, Glenna, if we could. Because what does the level of awareness look like? Let's talk about that for a minute, because so we have this idea of awareness out in the world, and some people equate that to I got to go on a spiritual retreat for about 14 days in the desert to get aware. So I would love for you to talk about, first of all, as you and I were talking during the break, awareness can be instantaneous. Tell us about awareness and about the idea of choice from that awareness that contributes to how money comes to us.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. It's a real little one. What is awareness? We are awareness. That's what we be. We've been that since the day we got our bodies and before then. We are awareness. We're aware of everything around us. That's whole reality. We know when someone's going to call us on the phone before they call. We know when someone feels funky in a room, and even if we don't talk to them, we're aware of everything, but we stop our awareness. It's more, where do we stop our awareness that already exists, is from everything we have a judgment, a conclusion, or a decision around. When we have a judgment about how something should look or how we want it to look or expect it to look, we can never see anything that doesn't match that point of view, so we can never be aware of anything. It's getting rid of all these things that are in the way of awareness that allows us to access it. And that's really what the access tools that I've been using and teaching for all these years change. They change the ways we stop ourselves from being the awareness we already are. And it's not always easy. There's things we've cut off about awareness just because we didn't want to know something was going on. But the tools help you with that too, because if there's something you don't want to know, so you stopped your awareness with that judgment, then the tools can allow you to have ease with those things. Like, everything's just an interesting point of view. I don't have to be affected by this other thing I never wanted to be aware of. I can just have that awareness and choose what works for me.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question around, and I think it was really wonderful to listen to Anne and talk about, how she was affected by a loss, as I was in 1991 and 2 with a job, and how that lets us move to a different place. But I will tell you that, for me, as my boss was firing me, I had asked the question, I wonder if Columbia will still accept my my registration to go back to school. And, so I didn't ask what else is possible. I was in a different question. What kinds of questions might we ask, Glenna, around money, around launching our dreams, around wealth? What might we ask? Because saying I can't afford it, or having even the notion that I need to restrict, constrain, and not even entertain something that I don't currently have, has got to have an effect. Can you help us through some of that?
Yeah. But if you can't even entertain it, could you ever choose it? Could you ever have it? Could it ever even find you? I mean, if you can't put out a party and entertain people, no one's going to come to your party if you can't entertain it, right?
Right.
and money's not going to come to the party that you're not a part of. So, asking, if I choose this, what is it going to create? Is a great question to start with the things. What is that going to create? You start getting an awareness of, and it's awareness, not answer, because that's a real big question. What is this going to create? There's an energy that'll show up that'll give you a glimmer into what that choice will create for you, for your future, for the planet. It could be. Yeah. So if you're looking at things you want to create, and you're limiting yourself, or you're stopping yourself with our crazy mind, our minds will say the stupidest things. That's a great way to start getting out of it. What will this create? What was my life going to be like in 5 years if I choose this? And if that energy is something that excites you, choose it. See what shows up. Choice creates the awareness. So you choose, and then it shows up. The awareness of what it's going to create starts showing up more. The people around you that are going to contribute start showing up. You know, it allows the consciousness of everything to contribute to you. When you ask the question and you choose it, what's this going to create? And then the things start to fall in place, as we say.
Yeah. The other thing I would love for you to talk about is, and you and I have talked about this, is that we choose something and then we think that's it. That's it. I gotta stick to it. I gotta do it. I gotta stick to it. Tell us about that, because what we're looking at right now and transformationradio.fm is not where we were 2 years ago. And so we have this idea that we're not allowed to change our minds.
Yeah. But we have to we have to stick with it.
Stick with it.
To stick with it, to be consistent, to never waffle. I think presidents get in trouble for waffling. But choice is only for 10 seconds. Choice, you're constantly re-choosing things, and you can constantly choose something different. Choice never ends. And if something isn't working in your business or your life, this question, if money wasn't the issue, would I choose this? It's something you can ask when things aren't working too, because you might say, "Wow, if money wasn't an issue, I wouldn't stay at this job for one more minute. I wouldn't continue this project for a second if money wasn't the issue." Because we can also be doing things because the money comes, and we've decided we have to keep doing it because it's the only place we're receiving money. And having that question can also allow you to change into something that's greater or different for you that actually would work better. So sometimes things need to end from that question and to start to choose something different. So is this choice working for me right now? Is doing this job, running this business, the way it's looking right now, is this working for me? I give that question out a lot. Is this working for you, yes or no? And then if it's not, choose something different. What could I choose that would create a totally different possibility here?
Yeah.
And then you can choose back again. Choice isn't the end point ever.
Yeah, that's what I love about this too. And, one of the questions, that we were going to talk about today is, are you willing to have money support and care for you? And boy, and so the mind goes to, really? How does that work?
That's such a cool question. I was given that question a couple of years back, and I think my mouth hung open when I heard Gary say that. Gary Douglas said that in a class. I was like, what?
Yep.
Money, support, and care for me? And then I perceived the energy that money actually is. And my eyes welled up, like the gratitude. Like that is truly what the energy that money is. That's truly what it is. It's something to support and care for you. It's done it its whole life. That's what money's done for all of us. It's given us our houses. We've paid our rent. We've paid our, heating bills. We've paid the gas in our car. We've done all this stuff that contributes to our bodies and our lives every single day. And money is the vehicle that allows us to have all that. Like, it does support and care for us. And we have such judgment about it as being a wrongness. So when I had that awareness, the energy of money and the way money showed up was completely different. And I had a gratitude for it in a completely different way. Because it was me creating something that cared, nurtured, and supported me in whatever I chose. So are you willing to have money be that for you? And if you're not, I'm creating to destroy everything that's in the way of that times a gazillion. Right around getting bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, and beyond.
I want to ask you about other people. One of my favorite things to talk about when it comes to money, if we could. We, sometimes we go down a pathway and we have things show up, just like we were talking about a few minutes ago with Ann, but we have things show up, other people that we believe have gotten in the way of us attracting money. Now, I mean, this is really kind of easy to do, really, isn't it? Yeah, it's kind of like, wow, I would have blah, 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 if only so-and-so had not done the, blah, 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 right? And so, let's talk about this, and let's talk about the question that you ask is, are you asking for money to contribute to your future? Because if I'm doing that, then does it really matter if blah, blah, blah gets in the way of blah, blah, blah?
Does it really matter? Well, it's a creation, and it's always something to say, okay, so what was so right about that I wasn't getting? Great question to ask. Sometimes we just, like I said, we're not aware of everything because we have judgments, decisions, and conclusions in place. And people, we can judge people as working for us, as good people, as nice people, as people that wouldn't lie, wouldn't steal, wouldn't cheat, whatever they're doing, because we're not willing to have total awareness. Often we don't want to be aware of those things about people because we think we're being mean if we thought they were a thief or a liar. So we don't see that. And sometimes these things show up and you go, whoa, that person was a thief, a liar, or whatever they were, and I wasn't aware of it. What would it take for me to be aware of that with total ease? Now, if you have a liar or a thief or something like that working with you, you can possibly keep working with them if you know that about them. You just have to have a different awareness every day about them. Right. People lie all the time. If you know that they're a liar, you actually have so much more awareness than they do. And you know whatever they say that comes out of their mouth isn't true. And that's okay. If they're doing a good job, you can keep them around. You just know that they lie. It's not necessarily something wrong. It's just the way they're showing up. Thieves, maybe not so much. You want to make sure you're keeping anything they could steal out of their reach, I would suppose.
Right.
So it's just a different way. So you don't make yourself wrong because you were in a relationship or a working relationship or business relationship with someone like that. You just may not have had the information yet. So when you do get the information, instead of going into the wrongness and blaming you or blaming them, it's like, okay, cool. Thanks for the information. I'm glad I got it now. What else is possible?
What else is possible? This is really so important. And let's just talk about this for a little bit, because there may be people listening to the show and say, well, wait a minute, I'm really quite happy. I got a great job. This is what's going on. Don't necessarily, have an additional need. But how about those folks sitting out there like you who have children? What role does our own ability to live in the world of possibilities have on our kids, right? What role do children play in creating more money?
That's a great question. Thank you for that. Yeah, children contribute hugely to the money that you make, create, and bring into your life living in reality, because just like I was saying, your body, all those things we spend money on are for your body. It's something that nurtures and cares for you. All the money you create nurtures and cares for your children's bodies too, and for them. And when they're little, before they can start having their first job, the money you make goes to them. That's where they receive their money primarily. So if they want more money, if you're willing to receive that from them, you will make more money. I have a friend who just had twins in Australia. They're like 6 months old now, and these twins want to be rich. They want to have a life of wealth. I can tell right away, and the amount of money she's starting to create with her businesses is skyrocketing. She's willing to receive her children's contribution to her creating and generating more money. Now, they're just being an energy that wants it. They're 6 months old. They're not doing anything directly that makes money, but them desiring it is creating mom making more money.
I'm sitting here, Glenna, right? And sometimes, I know this, I get a lot of feedback from our listeners, right? And sometimes what happens is that, it's really easy for us when we're sitting in a job, when we're pretty comfortable financially. Maybe we haven't lost everything, right? We can jump in the question. But how does living in the question, how does living in the world of possibilities help us if we are, let's just say it, somewhere close to our bottom? And I know that you've worked with people all over the world. And as a matter of fact, some of us have really been at our bottom. I've heard Dr. Dane talk about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
He and I share a lot of things in common. Homelessness, you know what I mean? Tell me a little bit about that, and also how some of the tools in Access Consciousness will help people with that.
Yeah, that's cool. Often when we're at that point, we've decided is the bottom, and it's different for everybody. Some people would have to be homeless to even have it to consider it, and other people it's just bouncing a bad check. That's the often the moment when you can make a demand, or I like to say a demandment, to change everything. Like when you're truly willing to receive the things that will change that for you. Is often, it's unfortunate that we have to get there, and that's one of the things that I see changing with a lot of people that have been coming to Access workshops over the years, is they don't have to hit rock bottom to demand more. They can do it any day, every 10 seconds. No matter what it takes, my life is going to be greater than I could imagine. So wherever you are, just putting that question out there, no matter what it takes, no matter what I have to do, be, create, or generate, I am going to have a life greater than I could imagine. Mm-hmm. And then when it starts to show up, no matter what the little teeny bit that you see, you just acknowledge that it's changing, have gratitude, and ask for more. It's really that simple. It's just you have to be willing to choose that. So when it starts to get better, but something is greater, you go, wow, okay, cool, it's changing. How do I get more of that? How does it get better than that?
This is really a great time of year to really start to think about this. And I want to ask you, we just talked about on air before you came on about our dreams. What is it that we need to do to put a leg or put legs on our dreams? Part of that sometimes is for people. I know that if I have a dream, and certainly if it's a business dream, it's going to be a conscious business dream. And sometimes the conscious business dream needs funding. Almost always. Mm-hmm. I know for us right now, we're talking about crowdfunding because we really are looking to meet the request from all of our listeners and the people we've worked with. Something is being built that has not been built in radio before, because we're literally building something for listeners and for our host that may or may not look like traditional radio, and it takes money. But sometimes we get mixed messages. As a matter of fact, our crowdfunding consultant kind of said, basically, you know what, you don't want to put too much money there that you're trying to raise. It will seem impossible for people to raise that amount of money. Yet, in our venue, we would love to raise millions. We would love to be able, to capture, the essence of a radio station and go from there. So,
I'd like to know I just like to know who decided what the amount of money you can actually raise is. Like,
is it that I'm not there, right?
I just heard something. Ellen DeGeneres. They were just talking about her on some YouTube thing. She raised $50 million over the last few years with funding things. Raised $50 million. I'm like, $50 million? Okay, that's bigger than I was thinking with things. So what if you could? What if you could crowdfund greater than anyone's ever imagined possible?
Thank you. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
It would be fun. It would be fun. And it's not outside the realm of where I come from. And yet at the same time, it goes back to one of the questions we originally had. Nothing has really changed for us from that day over 15 years ago on the back of an orange crust-busting card that said that we wanted to reach 1 million people. The only thing that's changed is now we say we want to reach millions, right?
Yep,
that's the language
like that.
Now that's different.
And that changes the energy. That's awesome. So
yes,
cool.
It does. So,
hey, I didn't mention. I just realized that the book signing that we're doing on Friday night.
I know. I was just going to get to that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I was just looking at the time. Yeah. So Friday night, Gary Douglas and quite a few authors of the brand new book made it number 1 today on hot new releases on Amazon. Possibilities in Parenting. The book just came out. We're going to be signing the book, and Gary's going to sign the other books he has at the Seattle Waterfront Marriott. He's going to be there from 7 to 8. We'll be there from 6 to 9. It's free. Everyone's welcome to come to meet me, to meet Gary, to meet the other, I think there's about 8 other authors of this book. It's a compilation of a whole bunch of stories about parenting. And we're all going to be there. So we would love to have you come and join us if you're in the Seattle area on Friday evening from 6 to 9.
I love it, and I'm so thrilled about that. And certainly for those of you out there, please make sure you check it out on Amazon. But to meet Gary, and you said some of the authors were going to be there?
Yes, and I don't have the names of them all. There's Sadie Sadie Lake is one of the editors and author, Erica Glessing, Trina Rice. There's a whole bunch of us that have chapters in the book that are all going to be there. We're all coming to the class, and we put the book signing together. So it's going to be really cool, and Gary's going to be there and hopefully give us some wonderful words of wisdom or magic or possibilities.
Well, I'm telling you, if you all go to Amazon and you take a look at the book, clearly you'll be able to look at the back of the book and see who the contributors are, and you're going to see Dr. Glenna Rice right there as well.
Yep.
So many people. What an amazing book, because, when it boils down to it, don't we really want to pass the best of the best on to our children, Glenna?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. What a great show.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to make sure that you all know that you can find out more about Glenna at glennarice.com. And then, go ahead, check it out. Meet Gary tonight. Have an amazing time. And remember, if money wasn't the issue, what would you choose? We'll see you next time.